What's up, Tokos? It's Trent, aka TradeMark here, and I had a video all recorded yesterday, and then I edited it today, and it was kind of about the rebel, how the rebel faction was a little bit stronger than Empire, but I'm gonna actually post that tomorrow because literally like right before I was like uploading it, Netmarble released the balance updates for the balance changes coming on the 20th. So in a couple days they're going to release this. So the one cool thing that I will say about Netmarble, I participated in the soft launch in December, and they are really good at constantly making improvements to the game. As far as like constant balance updates, they balance things all the time. I think while I was in the soft launch, they did like 3 balance updates, and every one of the improvements that they made, I feel like I agreed with to an extent. Like I might have tweaked something a little bit different, but every single one of them, I was like, okay, yes, that card or that unit was overpowered, or that card or unit was underwhelming and didn't perform very well. And so I think they have a really good balance team. Whoever's in charge of balancing, I think they do a really good job. And so instead of doing the video I was going to do, I'll just do a video kind of about this. So the balance changes you're going to see on the screen, and tomorrow I am going to post some Empire gameplay without the balance changes done. So the biggest issue to me was Gigoran Rebel. That was honestly the only unit that I felt was just completely overpowered. I feel like they didn't think the unit through very well. They basically combined heavy gunners into one unit, so they gave it the DPS of heavy gunners, but they gave it the health of something else, so you couldn't counter it with long range support items. So they decreased HP down to 482. Now 482, it's pretty close. It's on the cut of some. So you're basically still gonna have to. I don't think there's any long range. Like X-Wing's not gonna kill that, I don't think. And obviously this all depends on your card levels, but most people aren't going to be able to kill it with a single support card, which is good because the Gigoran costs 5 energy. But it's now at a much more manageable level. Anything that can get up close to it, 482, it's knocking down quite a bit. Also, its range is down to 7.5, so that's also good. Because it especially with Cassian's passive, it was able to sit like right at turret range and just melt stuff. So now it's got a little bit less range, and the biggest change is going to be this 1 second to change targets. Really, it was, in my opinion, it was made as an ATST counter. So now you can still place it at a location where it can lock onto the AT and melt the AT, but it's not going to continue to just switching targets and just melt everything. So I think this was probably the best change of the update. They add a little HP to light vehicle. I still don't see it being used too much. I still feel the ATST is superior to it in most ways. I like this change right here for TIE Fighter. They lowered the energy down to 3 and lowered the damage a bit. Because really TIE Fighter was pretty much useless unless you were 2v2. Because a 4 energy card that does that much damage, it was just too expensive. And now at 3 energy, it's actually, it's in alignment with X-Wing, and you could, I feel it's a pretty solid card now that you could consider putting even in 1v1 now. Krennic got a little bit of a boost, got some range, a little bit stronger. Emperor Palpatine, a little bit. I like that they make tweaks not overwhelming. I've never seen them make a balance change where it's just like, wow, now this unit is just simply amazing. Usually they make increments. Like they already buffed Emperor Palpatine in the last buff, and now they're buffing him again because that last buff, it was all right, but it wasn't enough to really put him in a decent rotation on the Empire heroes. So I like that they did that again. Sabine they nerfed. I think it's a little bit early to tell, but I mean they have better numbers than I do. And then obviously the biggest one that most of the community was complaining about was Cassian. He had his range reduced a little bit and his damage reduced a little bit, and he can move a little bit quicker. So I like that change. I honestly think Cassian wasn't all that overpowered because he had to put himself in a pretty vulnerable position to do a lot. This nerf is pretty much going to hurt him the most in 2v2. I feel like in 1v1 he already had to usually go into that center line to, you know, attack most things. So this will just make him be in a slightly more vulnerable position when he's attacking turrets, when he's doing things. So it's pretty cool that they released this already since the game came out. From what I can tell, Netmarble is on top of their game for balancing. I've been really impressed since the soft launch on this. And one thing I do want to kind of say about Empire versus Rebels is that a lot of that, you know, the feeling that Rebels were overpowered, I think was catered to two things. One, I think the Rebels are more forgiving. They're a more forgiving faction. What I mean by that is, like, a lot of new players they panic and they just start dropping cards. They just throw out all their cards that they can. And for Rebels, that can actually be a good thing, because a lot of Rebels will Zerg or swarm a turret or a unit, and as they swarm that, it just overflows into the turret, and that can be a really good thing. You can, you know, easily swarm a turret and take it down. So I feel like the Rebel playstyle caters more to a newer player, and also Rebels had, you know, a few overpowered units. So this I feel like will definitely bring things in alignment. And honestly, at the top tier of play, so in Kyber, Empire was already being used more than Rebel. So it wasn't like one of our guild members, Apogeo, he added up all of the Kyber games, and there was like 66% games played for Kyber players were Empire games. And even if you only looked at, which might have been the case because prior to global launch, I feel the Empire faction was a little bit stronger than Rebels. But even if you look at post-launch, like the new Kyber players, most of them still have a bias towards Empire. So I think this will be good, especially for you lower level players or low to mid tier ratings. I think you'll be able to, you know, get those Empire missions done. Maybe not get so annoyed at some of the units on Rebels. I still get a lot of questions about how to play Rebels, or excuse me, how to play Empire. So tomorrow I'm going to post my 2 gameplays that are against some Rebel players. And the cool thing is I actually played these games on my alt account, my free-to-play account, and it's only level 8. And both of the games, I was both under-leveled. I was a lower level than the enemy. I was lower card levels, and I made a lot of mistakes. And so I think those gameplays will be a good way to kind of talk to you guys about how to play Empire. The reason why I think it's important to see the mistakes I make is because, I mean, everyone's going to make mistakes, even at the highest level. It's how you recover from those mistakes and recognizing those mistakes each game, and how to counter and basically counterplay your opponent. So I'll post that tomorrow. But for now, at least have some hope in Netmarble. I know a lot of you are new, and you know, when you come into a game and you're getting, you know, you keep losing to a certain deck or whatever, it can be frustrating. But I think definitely Netmarble has really impressed me throughout the soft launch, and with how quickly they made these balance changes announced, I'm super impressed with them. So I think the future is bright for this game. I'm really excited. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Peace, Malo, aupito, and I'm out of here.